Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger and my friends. This is our character guide for Virtua Fighter 5 for Jean Kujo. This was actually voted for by the community. So if you're posting where's Shundi, where's El Blaze, they voted for Jean. So I'm just doing what the people asked for. So Jean Kujo is our resident karate user, proper original style karate. Also a similar style karate you may notice from Jin Kazama in Tekken. So if you played Tekken, you may be familiar enough with some of the moves. Although Jean Kujo, in the very limited lore of Virtua Fighter, is indeed a bad guy. He works for the literal Illuminati. However, unlike Jin Kazama, he is not canonically worse than Hitler. So just to put that out there, okay? He's more redeemable. And yes, that is the canon in Tekken, by the way, if you don't know. So, going to be a long video. There'll be timestamps everywhere. Skip forward to whatever makes sense for you. And if you could, leave a like because it does sincerely help. But now let's talk about Jean Kujo himself. Why Jean? Well, one, he does look quite a bit different than pretty much everyone else here. The aesthetic, pretty much everyone else is a bit more, well, if you want to be a little glub about it, like regular martial artist. He's got a lot more visual flair than the rest. He also has a lot of interesting mechanics, like chargeable moves. Moves that if you hold the button, they become a different move. Usually advantage on block if it's blocked, and if it hits, well, it can certainly be a party starter. Let's put it that way. And on top of that, all these charge moves have charge fake outs. And all these were very, very improved in this version of the game, as they all have much more this powerful frame data on their side, making his side turn game way stronger. And he's got some really good options on side turn mix-ups, and we'll get into it. And speaking of, well, mix-ups, he's got, well, I guess you could argue the debatable best mix-up in the game, because he gives you no options. He is a character that can reduce the complexity of this game because he reduces players' options. Normally, if your back's against the wall, you're disadvantaged, whatever, you can still, you know, press when you shouldn't. You can try to sidestep one way or another, maybe duck a move, maybe try to jump a move, maybe have a move that has a defensive property, maybe a move that's some kind of counter. There's a million ways to get around. There's very few situations in this game where you truly just have to guess the mix, and he is the character that literally enforces you just have to guess the mix-up. And he's got multiple ways to enforce it as well. Doesn't matter how tricky your character is, doesn't matter all the properties you got. He gets you with some moves, and it's just, okay, guess high-low, hope you blocked right. There is no other recourse. Other things to his benefit, as far as game weight goes, there's the true heavyweights in Jeffrey and Wolf, but he's actually the heaviest heavyweight character. So sometimes some of the more prestigious, longer combos will not work on him, and they got to settle for something less. He's generally pretty straightforward. His general gameplay, I would say, is he's one of the easier characters to use in the game. Things don't get too complex outside doing charge moves or charge fake outs, and then also enforcing side turn mix-ups. Speaking of which, by the way, side turn mix-ups are good, and also he has really good animation. He's very well animated. Like, moves just hurt with him. It looks good. He is a character that has received a lot of buffs in this version, and debatably, he did not really need some of these buffs, but he got them anyway, so it's all to his benefit. If I had to list any weaknesses, well, I would say, okay, his throw game is as average as it gets, except his two most important throws both got buff damage. So, okay. And I guess his low game is not very inspired compared to some characters. Like, you're going to use lows, and like, everyone needs lows. You need lows to keep people honest. Just most characters don't have great lows. He is a character without great lows, although one low in particular, it's above its weight class, let's put it that way. So even then, his low game's not bad, it's just not as good as people who have actual great low games. It is very difficult to sidestep him for a variety of reasons. He has lots of very strong defensive traits that are very easy and very forgiving with very large windows. He's a mix of very solid buttons. Got a bunch of buffs he debatably did not need, but hey, we'll take them. He can enforce a very unique style of mix-up that basically almost doesn't exist in this game outside him, as he can enforce true just guess 50-50 coin flip mix-up and you have no other recourse. And he has a lot of strong defensive options. So, geez, there's a lot to love here, right? So let's get into it first and foremost. Let's talk his 10 best moves, top 10 moves. Now, naturally, you're going to want to learn the entire move list in time, But obviously, like any fighting game, certain moves stand out above the rest, and these moves are the ones that are just a little bit better than everything else. Okay, to start off with, it has to be forward four punch. Has to. This move is stupid. It is absolutely one of the single best moves, not just for Jean, for the whole game. So, by itself, before we even get into it, what is it? 15 frame mid. 15 frame mid, so it's only a frame slower than like the usual forward punch mid, which is still very important, don't get me wrong, right? So 15 frames. For what it is, huge range as well, considering it's a quick mid. Quick mids normally can't hit from that far away. And hey, it's a mid, right? That's good. Say we block it. Once again, I'm just stalling before we get to the crazy stuff. Say we block it. It's -8 with gigantic pushback. Who cares if it's -8 with this kind of pushback? Am I in thread being thrown? Hell no, of course not. No throw is going to reach that far. If it gets blocked without the walls or whatever in the way, this amount of pushback, like who cares? Just backdash it. Like you're not in any, like mostly not in any realistic danger from many moves because you can just block and you're good and no throw can possibly reach. Then there's the part where it hits. You may notice the advantage is in a weird color. It's not a color that's like the rest, like not plus, negative, whatever. It's orange. This is a special hit state. There's very few moves in this game that cause this hit state, and guess what? He's got the ones that do it. So what happens here is it's not a hit state where even though it says +18, I can't necessarily like link a jab afterwards. It's not that kind of hit state. It's a hit state where you can't do anything but block. You can still like block the next move coming. Like if I just go for this and then like go for a kick, it should be a combo. It's not a combo. I can block it. That's all you can do. You can only block. You can't sidestep. Can't do moves with defensive properties. You can only block and that's it. And then, well, we're going to have a whole section dedicated to it. But effectively, this gives him a 50-50. And a 50-50, the enemy has no recourse other than hope you blocked right. And what makes this terrifying is this special state on top of forcing this special, like you have to block mode. The next move that hits, if it does hit, is a guaranteed counter hit. So say like down kick kick is not a counter, like it's not a natural combo in and of itself, but it is on counter hit. Oh, by the way, boom, there you go, right? So God forbid you're near a corner, haha, guess mid low. Oh, oops, you guessed the wrong move. And now you're wrung out. Say it hits again a second time. Oh, this move causes his own special state on counter hit. And from here, why didn't you block mid, dummy? You just lost a giant chunk here. Like, that's what I'm talking about. It reduces the game in a lot of ways. Like, good for you, bad for them, because it just turns it into Street Fighter. Just guess high-low. That's all you can do, really. You got no way out. There's no invincible Shoryuken to save you here. Guess high-low. That's it. That's all. This move is silly. It's fast. It's a mid. It's safe on block, and it gives you the world on hit. We'll talk. It's going to have its own section, so we'll cover more there. This move is ignorant. End of story. Next up, let's talk quarter circle forward punch and kick, because it causes the exact same state forward punch does, and thus is just as valuable in all the same ways. Except, so it's a little, well, not a little, it's a lot slower, right? As you can see here, 36 frames to startup, although it offers just a little bit more of that advantage, and also it's what we call a sabaki. So this sabaki eats all sorts of high and mid punches and elbows. So basically, if you catch it, it just automatically deflects it, and you're good to go. And by the way, this property goes live immediately. So say they blocked that forward punch and they're trying to hit something right away. Well, don't matter. So basically the frame you press the button, all high and mid punches and elbows will immediately be beaten. Also, if for whatever reason it hits as a counter hack, that's a combo starter right there. Also, say it is blocked. Oh, -8 with pushback. Where have I seen that one before, right? So yeah, there's a lot to love here. It will lose the kicks and like weirdo moves like double palms or headbutts. It can't counter those, can't parry through those. But still, it is a move with a lot of defensive offense, offensive defense, however you want to sling it. Just really strong, and once again, just like forward punch, pretty much all reward on hit. Now, next up, just because we overstimulated you with two very silly moves, forward and punch. So this is your 14 frame mid. Everyone needs it. It's just kind of how the game works. You need your fastest mid. This is your fastest mid to stop people going berserk from spamming crouch punch. Simple as that. If you happen to beat a crouch punch on any counter hit or just get a counter hit in general, you get tons of frame advantage. And from there, you can kind of put them in a mix-up situation of guess strike, guess throw. Also, it has a string built into it. and it is staggerable to a degree. So that's not bad. Also, the numbers on this are not bad either. So the second hit is only slightly negative on hit, barely negative on block, and the kick is a full circle tracking high. And so it's not a natural combo. The first 2 hits are, however. And like if they just sit and block the whole thing or try to wait it out and like deal with the staggers, like that can be a problem. Especially because if you stagger it, the second hit and the third hit do combo on stagger. So if you stagger the second hit and you did catch him hitting a button, then that will combo. It's not bad at all. So not big and flashy, but it's important. You need it. There you go. So next up, we're going to talk back punch. Back punch is a real workhorse. So out of the gate, it's a 16 frame high that has semi-tracking properties. So it will track one way, but not the other way. Don't worry. Next move, we'll talk about tracks the other way. And here's the thing. So by itself, back punch is a natural combo. Great. And, 37 damage, not bad. Leaves you at slight advantage on hit. Also, the follow-up, the second hit, is chargeable. And the charge punch, if it connects at all, well, hey, it's combo starter, right? And also, it is very advantage on block. If they just kind of hold the charge, then they're looking down. It's +6 on block, which is a nasty number to beat. Being a charge move, it also has a charge fake out. So usually this is the invoke the deer in headlight syndrome. But if they have the wear without a sidestep out of the way, then the fake out exactly beats that, puts you in side turn, and side turn's very good for him, as we'll have a whole section for that. And like many of the charge moves, he has a whole string system where now guess low mid if you block the big plus on block move, right? So there's just a lot to love here. And actually, you don't have to hold it for the big swing, right? You can do a partial charge to really mess with sidestep timings, because people are expecting to go all the way. So then, in the last second, if it hits, well, that kind of messes up people. It's just good. It's just really good. On top of that, it has another string, back punch kick, which is more of a combo filler string, but it is there. Because this is the natural combo, this is not a natural combo, but still, really good, just solid workhorse of a move. It's a good 2-hit string, has tracking, has a lot of delay gimmicks with the charge mechanic, and just a workhorse. Another workhorse of a move, and this move tracks the opposite way from the move we just talked about, down, back, and punch. So this is an evasive, semi-tracking low. So for what it is, 21 frames, which is about average-ish, I suppose. It is negative on hit. He doesn't get one of those plus on hit lows. That's fine. They're pretty rare. He's not a monster for lows. He's not meant to be by design. But the thing here, the evasive property of this kicks in effectively instantly. So it's just an automatic duck all highs, crush all highs. And if you're lucky, the move you're evading, you might get a counter hit. You might get a recovery punish. But you're generally always going to be negative unless it's a pure counter hit. And even then, you're just going to be slightly advantage. They did buff the other low, down, back, kick, and guard. So if this hits as a counter hit, it will knock the opponent down. But the thing is, it doesn't have the evasive property. It's the same speed. So you're literally just kind of risking getting hit while doing it versus this one. And if it doesn't have a counter hit, well, it's still negative on hit, just like the other one. Like basically, I don't know, they buffed this move, but like this move is just, in my opinion, much better. This is just kind of your go-to low. Like, it is not a game winner in and of itself, but you need lows to keep people honest. Because sometimes, you'll find that guy who will tech every throw. Like, despite your best efforts, no matter what, you won't open up with throws. And therefore, you got to open them up with lows every now and then just to keep them honest. And that's how you do it, and this is the move for him. Now, last section, we just talked about opening people up, right? Because his throw game's only so-so, and sometimes people will just block every move, so that's why you need lows. But then he has a move that sort of bypasses the need for throws, because he has an actual honest-to-God guard break. Just back-forward punch. Now, here's the thing. If they don't block, it just hits and sends them flying. So it's not a huge reward, but they didn't block, whatever, sure. But if they do block, it'll force them into a stagger. Now, here's the thing. Unlike some of the other guard breaks in the game, there's not too many, but this is unique. So once you do this here, there's a string follow-up effectively once you do this. So you may notice here there's a bunch of buttons, right? So this is what it wants out of you. First you do the move, then you hit kick, then you hit punch, and you hit punch again, then you hit kick again, then you hit punch again, and then you hit kick again. And there's a very specific timing to it. In this patch of R.E.V.O, they did make the window a bit easier. Before it was strict, and well, it's not the easiest, but it's much more reasonable now. And if you input the moves with the correct timing, then you get over 60 damage. That's great. Your best throw only does 65, and they can tech that, right? If they block, they can't tech this. They're taking guaranteed damage. For this, the hardest thing about it for sure is learning the timing, as you got to be pretty fast with the button presses, and the final press, it has to be specifically when the last punch connects. You can't just do it in like a rhythm. But like, it's one of those, once you practice it, once you get it, then you got it, then it makes sense. You might have to spend a few minutes practicing it, but trust me, once you get it, then you're like, oh, okay, gotcha. And thank God, the last hit was always the hard part, and they widened the window on that. So once again, this move is just a guard break. So why risk a throw tech when you can just say, no, I'll just take the guaranteed damage right now with no possibility of you teching. Our next move is diagonal down forward twice, punch kick. So this is just a little combo in of itself. Like, it's good for various combo strings. Like, that part's fine. It has some interesting properties outside of you wanting to use it for combos. One, it has, well, the punch kick, and the kick is chargeable like many of his moves. There's a pretty big difference though. Unlike the other moves to charge, like, oh, you block, you're plus, whatever. This bad boy, if you let this rock, it's unblockable. So see here, the bodice is to block everything, and if I go for the charge kick here, it's a high, it's duckable, absolutely. But if you deer in headlights this and just stand still, actual unblockable, not just plus like a lot of the other moves, just actual unblockable. Don't rely on this all the time. It's a gimmick, but it is there. And speaking of the gimmick has a gimmick inside the gimmick. So many of the charge moves, you hit, another button, and then you fake out the charge move into another button. And this is much the same here, where you can hold it and then, hit something else. The thing about this, which makes it very valuable, is this is a full circle tracking high. And when you do the move, hold the button and then hit punch. If you do this actually fast enough, it becomes a natural combo. Like, the regular version's a natural combo as well, absolutely, +2. But this version has a natural combo, has full circle tracking, is +6, and leaves them side turn for side turn mix, which is a much bigger deal for him in this version of the game, because so much of his side turn moves got more frame advantage, and just became much more valuable to do. Also, compared to the regular string here, this is -8. And leaves you point blank. This is -6 with quite a bit of pushback outside of throw distance, which just makes it way, way, way more valuable if it gets blocked. Now, naturally, obviously, second hit there's a mid. This one's a high, so you can duck, like, that's the game. But it's just interesting that outside of the combo ability stuff, this is a very valuable string in and of itself. The reward is very high on hit. The initial hit, 15 frame mid. So, like, not that slow in the end. You have the option for charge gimmicks if you like. It's there. But if not, you can use the charge to go immediately into the fake out attack, if you will. This is actually a really just good string in and of itself. So, it's a good move. Next move here we're going to talk about here is back kick and guard, punch punch. So, this move got some sizable buffs in the VF5 R.E.V.O patch. For one, the various hits are staggerable if you're just looking to get people while they're blocking. Secondly, it is a natural combo now on hit. Okay. And it does not insubstantial damage, 56 damage. That works. And if you're staggering it, the second hit will combo into the first hit and it'll give that knockdown. You may notice that knockdown is like kind of a sliding fallback knockdown. You get combos from this. And like a lot of damage. So here's a basic example. So we can use that down forward, punch and kick together. And that's 83. 83 is not insubstantial. And keep in mind the string, if you went for all of it and it's blocked, it's -8, yes, but with monster pushback, like well outside of jab distance, like -8 is of little consequence at that point, so it's fine. And against some of the lighter characters, you can actually up the damage potential a lot more by using up forward kick and guard. And then you get 100 damage off a safe, staggerable string. Like, admittedly, the first part is slower, right? It is slower. It's 30 frames. But other than it being a slower startup, like pretty much, all the other upsides are pretty titanic, right? Huge damage, staggerable, safe on block effectively. Like, it's a pretty alright string. It's one of the many things that got buffed in this version of the game and just works for him. Now, next up, we're technically cheating because it's 2 moves, but My video, my rules. So this is back and all 3 buttons and down and all 3 buttons. And this is one of his stronger defensive properties. So back and all 3 buttons is what we call a sabaki, although it's effectively a parry. And this will parry all high and mid punches and elbows. And then down and all 3 buttons will get all basically low punches and kicks. The thing about this is they activate very fast. So you can be very negative, like -8 here, you see, right? And go for it. And then boom, I eat your move. And once again, this is for the back version, high and mid punches and elbows. It will not work against kicks. So you got to call your shot a bit, but it is there. And here's the beauty. You get a follow-up after the fact. Whenever you successfully get your parry off, like if you just leave it, you're +8, but why be +8 when you just get guaranteed damage? So if you just hit punch after you successfully parry a move, you'll punch him in the stomach and it's a crumple and it's a full combo. And the way you do it, you can just hit like back all 3 buttons and then hit punch right away. Because if you successfully get it, then it'll just automatically go into it. And if it whiffs, well, nothing happens. Much the same here for crouching punches or kicks. Just hit down on all 3 buttons and then you'll counter those and hit punch again and you crumple them in the stomach. Now, not necessarily an optimal combo here, but just to show you, like, you'll get damage after the fact, right? If you call them out, you're good to go. And it's able to activate very late, as long as you're not just like directly punishable. If you call him out, this along with like his other sabaki just makes his defensive properties very powerful. And the final of our top 10 moves is forward and kick, and that's your big dumb launcher. And from there, hey, combos, right? Everyone needs the big dumb launcher. It's good for, well, hey, it's a fighting game. You got to launch people every now and then, right? If you think you're going to be thrown in a situation where, you know, you're forced to block a mix-up, just go for it, because once again, attacks beat throws, and getting your big launcher is pretty good attack to get in. Naturally, it is not the safest on block as a big launcher, nor should it be, although in situations where you can get it blocked side turn and he has lots of ways to force side turn, it'll be -9, which isn't ideal, but it will be safe. And once you launch him, well, mostly writes itself. Get some big boy damage in there, take him to the cleaners. Okay, quick section here just to talk about the charge mechanic. It's pretty self-explanatory, but just for the sake of completion. Many moves and many strings, you can just hit the button or you can hold the button and change the move. And just about every move that you can hold, regular, hold, you can then hit the opposite button, be it punch or kick, and then it'll change the move and hit them and probably side turn them. And if side turns them, then, well, deal with whatever mix up. It won't be too hard to discern. It's very clear in the move list when it says which strings will have it. As I'll say, you can charge the move and it'll give you all the various options from there. One quick thing to note though, if a charge move hits, then great. Great. Like you might be able to get combo follow-ups, you might have an advantageous knockdown, but if the charge move is blocked and not sidestepped, the one weakness of the charge move is it's fairly telegraphed. Some do have partial tracking like punch, 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 but they are, you know, telegraphed to a degree, so if you see it coming, get sidestep one way. But if it is blocked, like for one, plus frames, that's nice. Like it's going to be the case for every one of these charge moves. Secondly, if you want, there is canned follow-ups. After the charge move is blocked, hit punch, punch, kick, or hit kick, kick. And this is for all the charge moves. So this one here, I showed you the strings, is just as applicable for, say, like the big boot. Doesn't really matter. So the idea here is, it's basically guess mid-low. If you go for punch, punch, kick, it's mid-mid, EX low. And if you go for kick, kick, it is then low, high. And it's a natural combo. The mid option starts up in 16 frames. The low option starts up in 19. Although it does have partial tracking as well, compared to the mid, which does not. But still, technically is within the realm of, like, you could technically block both if you are very on the ball. But of course, it's just plus frames. Like, you don't have to commit. It is just a canned mix-up if you don't want to commit to your own mix-up, of which, you know, you can do your own thing very easily after the fact because you have the plus frames. So it's just an additional layer. Either take the plus frames, go for whatever you want, or just take the canned mix-up the game gives you. Either way. And that's just basic Charge 101. Hold the button, get canned mix-ups, or hold the button, hit a different button, and catch them trying to sidestep your original big wind-up move. Okay, so now in the earlier sections, we talked about forward punch and cortical forward punch and kick, and how it creates a unique state where the next move, you basically just have to guess. You can't sidestep, you can't do a defensive move with defensive property. You just got to guess 50-50 coin flip And if that next move hits, then it gains counter hit properties from there, right? So let's talk about it. So say you land forward punch, which, considering it's one of your best moves as Jean, you probably will, right? This is a move you're going to be aiming for. And you can see here, it's a juicy plus 18. So there's no guaranteed combos from this in and of itself. They'll always be able to block, but that's it. And, well, let's give you some basic building blocks, including some more advanced stuff in the later section. So basic building block number 1. If I'm plus 18 and my next move is a guaranteed counter hit, well then, down kick sounds like a good idea. This is not a natural combo in and of itself. You can see here the combo counter, it's 1 and 1, right? But here, because it is a counter hit, oh, now it is a combo. Cool. So it gives a knockdown. That's good. And if they don't immediately tech roll, it's actually quite easy to scoop them up off the ground. And also, you can just go for a regular down kick. You don't have to complete it. You'll lose the damage, sure, but here's the thing. It'll be +4 in their face. So if you just want to give up some damage potential for some frame advantage, it is an option. And the other option, well, plus 18, this bad boy here is also 15 frames. So you can just actually just do it to itself and has a very strong counter hit property state. And at bare minimum, it's fairly trivial to just scoop them off the ground. And depending on characters' weights, you can get a lot more damage as well. It's not necessarily the highest damage mix-up, but given the rules of VF, once again, you're not allowed to evade either way. You can't do moves with defensive properties like parries or whatever. You have no recourse other than hope you blocked right. Other than that, good luck. So it makes it a very unique situation in this game. Also, it can lead into side turn mix-ups. Because it is plus 18 and you have so much advantage, you can maneuver yourself with the offensive maneuver to get into the side turn position, and then there's mix from there as well. And we'll talk about that in the side turn section, starting now. Okay, now let's talk side turn stuff. So this is definitely one of the biggest aspects of Jean that got buffed in VF5 R.E.V.O. As we talked about, many moves that have charge built in. They have the charge fake out, which will track to a degree, and then it'll also make the enemy face away differently from you, side turned, and from there you get various side turn mix-ups. If you're unaware, if you didn't see the previous guides, so side turn, it's not a good state to be in. Side turn means, well, attacks hit from the side. That means they have more frame advantage, for one, and also it takes time to turn around. So in this situation here, where it says I'm +6, it might as well be +9. It takes 3 frames to turn around to do anything. Turn around to face me, turn around to hit a button, turn around to block, it doesn't matter. So mix-ups, naturally, because the numbers are better, get better. And because every move he has that side turns you got better with more numbers, that just makes everything better across the board. And especially moves that can side turn you naturally in a Ken combo, as we talked about in the top 10 moves section. So you get the hit and now you get a mix-up afterwards. So what makes this so powerful? So the bot's gonna do this to me. I'm gonna be the one side turned, right? And let me show you the building blocks of how side turn mix-up works in this game. So here's the most basic building block. Get the side turn however you get it, and then go for a down forward kick. This is a side kick. Now in and of itself, it doesn't look like much, but if it hits side turn specifically, it's gonna get extra nasty, as you can see here. Because I'm side turn, my fastest move normally for most characters would be down and punch. And due to the frame advantage, I can't turn around fast enough to down punch him. Therefore, my fastest move's not going to work. And if this move, diagonal down forward kick, hits me like as a counter hit while I'm doing anything other than holding block. If I hold block, I'm good. If I hit any button, it causes a unique side turn only crumple state from which you get a full combo. So basically, layer 1 is you can't mash buttons. Once this happens, you have to accept, okay, you're in the danger zone. Any button you're going to press is, for the most part, going to lose. And, it's a mid, so you can't necessarily crouch block it either. If you stand block it, since it hits side turns, it will not be as disadvantaged as it would be otherwise. Although, you still have the option to evade. That is still there, because this is not a guaranteed combo, so you can still evade. That's on the table. Layer 2 is get any side turn, go for the throw. If I'm side turn, I can't hit buttons, so I might as well try to block. I get thrown. All right, I'll try to evade. Oh, you can't evade throws. And there you go, right? So the 2 main ways to weather the storm of the side kick, side turn crumple combo, well, it loses the throws. And he's got really cool side throw animations, by the way. Now, granted, if you know which throw it is, you can still break it, right? That's the nature of the game, but that is another layer of the mix. And also, just for the sake of completion, When you got them mixed up here, you got them side turned, you can also hit down kick and guard together, and that will go for a full circular low. So if they try to sidestep, well, it'll get them. If they didn't block low, it'll get them. Once you got them going low to try to block this, then also keep in mind that when you have them side turned, and then you hit him with that side kick we talked about, that's plus 11. Which means you get a guaranteed side throw attempt if they got hit, because it forces them to stand at plus 11, so side throw is guaranteed. So guess mid for death, guess low for death, guess throw for death. And if it catches them sidestepping the move, as it is a full circle, it'll be a counter hit, and then that's a guaranteed knockdown. Now, before we mentioned how you can go into the 4-4 punch mix-up, and then kind of sidestep to the side, and create a side turn mix. And it's not as strong as like the regular side turn stuff, it's more of a gimmick. But it's an alright gimmick as far as gimmicks go. If I hold block here, you see I'm still remaining side turn. Only after I complete my block will I turn around and face the enemy. And the thing is though, if this hits as a counter hit, it's plus 28 for you instead of the normal plus 18. So if you actually manage to snake somebody with a fairly sizable hit, then this gets a lot more deadly as far as like the guessing game goes. The reason I bring it up is just because of kick and guard specifically. So kick and guard normally, if it hits a counter hit, like they're trying to sidestep one way, it'll be plus 10, and that gives a guaranteed throw attempt. That's nice. In the regular mix scenario of the side turn, if you do this right away and you catch an evasion right away, it'll leave you at plus 13, which isn't a lot, but it does guarantee punch kick. So effectively, it makes this a natural combo. And that's neat, that's neat. So specifically off this into the step, and then you catch them side turn and counter hit, it will then create plus 13 with them with their back to you. So you get the little bit of guaranteed damage before. However, in this scenario, just because you have guaranteed damage, you get more damage, you get a knockdown, go from there. Like, it's just definitely more edge case. I'm just telling you so you know what exists. But for the most part, just going for like the base side turn mix up, because the numbers have been so buffed in R.E.V.O compared to what they used to be, and now gives him much more guaranteed start guessing my mix-up pressure, and considering he has so many ways to keep turning people around against their will, that's gigantic. Now, to just briefly talk about his throw game, just because every other character guide has mentioned throws, his throw game is super basic, although it got buffed. So, forward throw is your best forward throw, and that does more damage now, it does 65, which is actually respectable. His best back throw is just back and throw, and that got buffed to 55 from 50. Sure, why not? Also, his unique wall throw also got buffed to do 75 damage, which is actually like a lot of damage. So his throw game is as basic can be by design, because he has so many other, positive traits. But then we have this, and all of his throws do more damage. Like, you're really only just doing the basic, forward, back, neutral throw game. There's nothing much to it other than what's on paper, but now it just all does more damage. So hey, why not? And now let's showcase some combos. So as like the other guides, I'm going to go through them pretty quick, talk through them, what they're about, and if it's too quick, I'll rewind a little bit, I guess. To note, like with everybody, just some notes on Taka, because Taka is a big boy. He doesn't play by the rules, so that launcher, forward kick, don't launch him. Stuff like up forward kick and guard, it doesn't even knock him down. It literally doesn't knock him down. It doesn't do enough damage to knock him down. So you're not launching anybody with this. For Taka specifically, it really comes down to this. If you can get him into the fall over state, just hit down, punch, and kick. And then that will rebound him. And from there, just back forward, punch, kick. And most of the time, that's about all you're going to get on him. That's a big boy privilege. Now, let's start with forward and kick, just the basic big launcher. Now, there's a note here. This is somewhat weight discrepant. It works on almost everyone in the game, but it doesn't work on Taka because he has weird rules. It doesn't work on Jeffrey and Wolf. We'll get to those in a second. But off this launcher, here's the general combo you want to go for. That does very respectable damage. Against Wolf and Jeffrey, you got to give up just a little bit of damage. Still good damage, but that's weight class privilege. What about forward punch when you do it in the mix-up and you get that special knockdown. Well, you get some decent guaranteed damage. So not a lot, but given that it's effectively, as we talked about in the course of the video, it's just a coin flip mix-up, that's all right. Jean also has another traditional launcher in down forward diagonal, punch and kick together, and just kind of pops them up. So first, here's something that's basically universal. There you go, not too bad. The one thing to note is, when you dash forward and go for the up, forward, kick, and guard together, try to do that like as fast as possible, because if you just kind of wait on it, and then you go for the follow-up, you can see those green numbers mean they'll have a chance to tech roll. So to make it guaranteed, you kind of have to have this hit up really high. So they have that extra height. Now, against everyone who's not Wolf and Jeffrey, we can actually just sneak in a little jab, and we get the same combo, and just does more damage. There you go. Now we get 73 damage. So it's not a lot more, it's a few points more, but more is more. And this works on everyone in the cast except for Wolf, Jeffrey, and Taka. You're going to start noticing a lot of John's combo structure kind of looks the same here. We're going to keep going with that. So now down, back, punch, and kick. So what makes this move worthy is he goes backwards while doing it, so he can make moves coming his way whiff, and then smack him on the other way. It also helps this move is very safe on block with pushback. It's only -3. So if it gets blocked, kind of whatever. And there we go. Knees into the uppercut knee again. Yeah, it's kind of a recurring theory, but it's respectable damage. Also, if you remember at the beginning of the video, we talked about the parry, right? So the parry, if you do the punch, gives a crumple. And when you know it, it's literally the exact same combo every time. Like, just so you know, it's always the same combo. To be fair, though, against the lighter characters, you can sneak in just an extra punch of damage. Now, a different one is back punch and kick together. So this guy here is a crumple on counter hit specifically. And unless it's Wolf and Jeffrey, hey, just do the thing, right? But against everyone else, you get a different style of combo, at least for the beginning. So that, off the counter hit, you get 85. That's actually quite respectable. A thing to note, though, after the initial counter hit, it behooves you to just wait a split second to do the down jab. If you do it as fast as possible, they actually will not bound. So you have to wait a split second, then do the bound, and then the combo will work. Fast as possible timing actually works against you in this combo. Other simple combo notes, charge kick. You can scoop them up off the ground with down, forward, punch, kick, just like everything else. Forward, kick, and guard is another combo starter. This is semi-tracking, and if it just hits, it causes the combo. You're good. The startup's a little slower, and it's a high, but it is also safe on block, right? So that's kind of the selling point. There we go, a different ender for once, right? So this is truly universal, even works on Taka. Because this will just cause the bound state, and then you rebound them, and go from there, right? Not the highest damage, but it's a safe tracking launcher, so why not? Now combos in the corner. Same logic as everyone else. If you can splat them right away, hey, splat them right away. Although it certainly helps to do something to stagger them on the wall first. Moves like back punch plus kick does over the 21 damage threshold, so therefore it'll stagger them on the wall if they're anywhere close. And then from there, forward, punch and kick, the big splat is mostly guaranteed. And let's give you an example combo from there. And there we go, respectable damage, and Old Faithful diagonal punch kick saves the day again, right? There's a few other scenarios though, like that's the usual kind of mostly universal scenario, but a couple other scenarios, like say involving back forward punch kick. So this actually will splat someone into the wall from quite far away. Again, it'll give the slump state instead of the full wall stick splat, but still, even from this hits, once again, natural combo, safe on block, we get some damage. This is basic, but it's universal. There you go. Easiest 70 damage you ever got. Once again, we're not specifically fishing for a wall combo. It's just if they're even mildly near it, they'll slumber into the wall, and that's guaranteed. And that's Jean Kujo. So Jean is one of the simpler characters in the game, straight up. You know, at minimum, he doesn't have all sorts of complicated stances. Even normal characters like Jeffrey, who's considered very easy, has a stance, right? Jean, he has the charge mechanic, which is pretty self-explanatory. Yo, you hold the button longer, move get better. Like, that doesn't need much explaining. Of course, you know, then there's also the charge fake-outs, and those all got better across the board because they just now have more frame advantage when they have the side turn, ensuring the frame mix-ups, like based on the frame data, on side turn are now much deadlier, like using the ability to catch you with like side turn, side kick, or now the newly changed forward punchless kick, which will always crumple on side turn now no matter what, doesn't even need a counter hit. So like the aspects he was strong at, which is like just strong fundamentals, were already good, and you know they buffed his throws too, right? And I don't want to call it gimmicky because it's not gimmicky, but the side turn stuff gives a buff to his layer of mix that wasn't as strong before, so that's way better now. So Jean was straightforward and solid already he was, and now in R.E.V.O, he's even more dangerous yet. So if you like karate chopping people, you know, if you want to do big kicks, all that kind of stuff, like he's very literally karate man, right? So get to it and karate kick some fools in the head, and otherwise that is it for the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Virtua Fighter.